In this video here, we're going to start the introduction to in-hand work. In-hand work stems back to hundreds of years ago when the masters were using this to really help develop the horse, bring the horses along, and doing it from the ground. And that's what I really find cool about this is you can start to see things from the ground that you wouldn't see and feel things from the ground that you don't see and feel from up in the saddle. But the in-hand work, it's different than your online work, because the in-hand work is all about getting more precise. It's developing the horse, getting the horse to start taking contact, start developing your collection work, and getting the movements more precise. So all of your lateral work and your advanced movements that you do riding, you can do here in the ground. So where do you start with that? And that's a bit of what I wanted to kind of go over in this video, is how do you start with this, where do you go with it, and that sort of thing. And so I'm going to take you along in a number of videos in the future here of just showing you where we start here today and how that progresses all the way up into some half pass and even into some piaffe work. So to start off with, the way that I like to set it up is, you really want your horse already being able to move and come off of a field with the bridle. And then once you've got that, I've got my reins here and I've got a whip. I'm going to turn her just a little bit so you can kind of see here. I bring the outside rein back to the wither, and I've got a whip in my hand, so I can hold the whip coming out the bottom of my hand, and then I can grab a hold of the rein. This is typically the way that I like to hold it, but you can also hold it with the whip coming out the top of your hand. So depending on how that feels for you, and depending on, like for me, what I'm doing with my horse, I might change it coming out the top of the hand or the bottom of the hand. So that really just depends on you, what you're doing, that sort of thing. Now, where you position your hand is you're going to grab a hold of the rein, you're going to slide this hand down into more of the meat of the shoulder here. Oftentimes we want to come up here at the wither and hold at the wither, or we get in the V of the neck here and we're kind of pressing in here. But typically you're going to be right here on the shoulder itself with the hand. And I'm going to have the ability I can use my knuckles a little bit into her if I need to kind of press in to ask her to move those shoulders over, or if they're leaning on me, that sort of thing. And so I'm going to connect the outside rein, and then I'm going to come on up and I'm just going to hook my fingers into the bridle here. And I'm going to start off with, can I just ask my horse to pick up a little bit and just flex her neck. Just a simple basic thing, but I want her to keep her, I don't want the head rotating and twisting. I want to keep this straight up and down, not where she rotates like this. And I do that with the outside rein. So I have to have enough outside rein to keep her coming through and bending her neck. So that's nice. I'm going to come to the other side. Same thing over here. Connect the outside rein, come on in here, and ask her to flex the neck. And it's about getting the bend through the vertebrae. So it's like you're looking for flexing each vertebra down the neck. And for more on that, go check out, I've got a video specifically talking about that. So I'm just looking for, is she following that feel? She's coming, bending around. I don't want her head too high and I don't want her head too low. where it's in a nice relaxed position here. That's nice. So it's a real simple basic exercise, but it's an important exercise because if your horse is leaning on its shoulders one way or the other, it's going to be hard for them, or harder for them, to flex. So it's just a real simple little exercise and are you getting the horse to follow that feel? And now we're going to just ask the horse to walk off and go forward. So I connect up, I get a feel with the outside hand, and I have just a feel here. I'm not really doing anything other than just holding with my inside hand, hooking my fingers in there. Now I'm going to use my whip here and just kind of tap her on her side and on her belly and just ask her to walk off. And we're just going to do basic, can we walk forward and halt. So I need to get forward. It doesn't have to be fast, but it needs to be where she's actually in a walk. And I'm looking for contact with the outside rein here. She's soft, she's relaxed. This is nice. She's not too high, she's not too low. You're looking for the head and neck to stay relaxed. I have my knuckles here on her shoulder. That's kind of like your leg on her. You know, your leg's not that far up, but it's a way for you to kind of feel what's the horse doing. Is the horse leaning in? So if she were to lean in, I can press in a little bit. She's not. She's pretty good here. Depending on your conformation of your horse, some of the horses are going to want to go real low. She's more, has a tendency to want to drop low, so then I'm going to lift her up. Now there, that's too high. If she goes too high, I have a feel on this, the bit hand, and I encourage her to lengthen out. And so you're finding that balance of, if the horse is up, they're contracting their back and their neck. So we don't want the contraction, but we don't want them so low that they're just down on the forehand and dropping out, unless we're encouraging for a lengthening, and I'll do that here in a minute. But in just the relaxed forward walk is, for her, a good height is right there. If she gets too high, then she starts contracting and actually dropping the wither. And if she gets too low, she can fall on the forehand. The getting lower is for about stretching and really stretching out and getting long. Starting to get balance is in the mid-range here, and starting to get collected work is when you start picking them up a little bit more. But how much you collect them and pick them up is determined by how relaxed they stay. So if you start picking them up and they start contracting and getting tight, you're too high. So that's kind of a rule of thumb there that you can go by. So again, I'm just going to kind of pick up and ask for forward. So we're just looking for a nice forward walk, keeping a relaxed neck. If they're too high, how you can help them to come down is putting a little feel downward on the bit. The other way is to flex the head and neck. Flex it a little bit and then encourage them to stretch and lengthen down. So this is nice here. So once I have a nice relaxed walk, then can I get a halt with her staying relaxed? So she stayed pretty good, but as soon as I halted, she kind of swung her hind end out. Then I'm going to pause for a moment, and then I'm going to say, and can we walk off? So I just use my whip there a little bit, put a little feel, and say, hey, can we walk forward here? So that's pretty nice. She's nice and relaxed. If you needed to, you can flex them a little bit to encourage them to go down. And then I'm going to halt. So, and again, see how she kind of just tips her hind end out as we come to a halt. And I'll show you how you can help that. So now we ask for forward again. So as we're walking along, I'm going to go over to the rail. So I started here on a circle, and that's a great place to start. And then I can start coming down the rail to help her. So we're going to walk forward, keeping the neck relaxed, and come to a halt. And there, see how the rail helped. When I come to a halt, it's like I'm stopping myself, and I just put a tiny bit of feel with the outside rein saying, hey, would you come down, with a little bit of a feel on the bit hand. And just encouraging them to kind of come down. But I don't want the contracting of the back. Can we keep them relaxed and soft through the whole body as they transition down? And then I'm going to ask for her to walk forward again. So that's nice. And soften down to a halt. And there she got a little bit up, and she thinks, oh, I still need to go someplace. I'm like, no, just relax. Get soft, thank you. And then I'm going to ask her forward again. So my life comes up, I activate the whip a little bit if I need to. Encouraging that neck to lengthen out, to stay long. And come back to a halt, keep the neck long. And I am paying attention. I'm not too concerned by the square halt, but I do want to bring that in as I progress with this. I don't want to add too many pieces to this for you right now. So it's just basic. Let's walk forward, get the walk going, and come to a halt, keeping relaxed and keeping soft. There she popped up a little bit, so I really would like for her to stay down. Now if she pops up a lot, keeps doing it, is I might just do a little bending in the neck and keep that bend and say, can you come down? And that was better. So that's just basic walking off and coming to a halt, walking off, coming to a halt. Nothing, real fancy here yet, but it's just getting the horse, paying attention, getting the response. In the in hand here, you can start to see things from the ground here that you wouldn't see when you're sitting up on the saddle. Okay, so one more piece here that I want you to add into this is, can you get your horse to stay soft and relaxed? We're walking down the rail, and now I'm going to ask the horse to circle. And as we circle, can you get the horse to lengthen out a little bit more? So I might put a feel in the bit hand here and just encourage them to stretch down more than what you normally would. And this is really beneficial for a horse that contracts a lot or is really high-headed. You're going to encourage them to drop that down for a lap or two, and then as you come back to the rail, you're going to pick them up a little bit. But it doesn't have to be high. It's about keeping the horse's neck relaxed. Yeah. And I'll show you that again as we go down the rail over here. So as we're going, I've got her in a balanced, relaxed place here. I'm going to pick up a circle, and encourage her to lengthen and stretch out more. And that was pretty good. So I can just pick her back up, keeping that relaxation, yes, and going down the rail. So that was nice. Now I'm going to do a circle without letting her go down. So you don't necessarily need to have her go down every time. And there she's kind of popping up and down just a little bit. So I'm encouraging her to stay relaxed, stay soft into my hand as we come around. And halt. So that was pretty good. So it's real basic, but this is a challenge, and you'll do this on both sides of your horse, is because one side's going to be one way, they usually are stiffer than the other direction. But go out there, play with getting that forward into a halt, forward into a halt, keeping the neck relaxed. Are they connecting back to you? Don't make this a huge deal. Then, once you've got that, you can do that starting off on the circle, then start doing it down the rail. Then once you've got that, start adding in some circles with some lengthening in there, and then picking them back up as you go down the rail. So the transition more is can you just stretch out and then pick them back up into a balanced place. And the balanced place is high enough to where they rock back just a little bit, but not too high where they start contracting. And when they contract, they oftentimes get stiff in the shoulders, and you'll feel that the stride isn't as long. So it's just go out, play with that. Like I say, do that both sides. The in-hand work is a great place too, is if only you have 15 minutes, 10 minutes to go play with your horse. Just go grab them, and you can get quite a bit of good stuff with your horse in just a short amount of time. And that's what I love about, one of the things that I love about the in-hand work. So go on out there, play with that, and we'll see you in the next video.